Hey everybody, welcome to Core Conversations, a series of live interviews hosted by local core members about issues that matter to young people in California today. My name is Levi, and I am a core member at San Francisco Conservation Corps, and I'm happy to be your host for today's interview. We also want to welcome our live audience, and we would love to hear from you. Please enter your comments in the chat box. And for all our core members in the audience, we'd love for you to answer those questions too. You can type your answer right in the chat box. Please be sure to include the name of your local corps. Today, we will be speaking with corps members from San Francisco Conservation Corps, San Jose Conservation Corps, and Orange County Conservation Corps. I'd like to invite each of our teammates to introduce themselves, starting with Angelise.
Hello, my name is Angelise. I am from the Orange County Conservation Corps. I am a corps member and I am in the recycling department. I would like to pass it to Amanda.
Thank you. My name is Amanda. I'm a crew leader from the San Jose Conservation Corps and Charter School. My department is called Zero Waste and Recycling, and I work mainly with electronic waste. Back to Levi.
And as you may or may not have heard already, my name is Levi Raymer. I'm a corps member with the San Francisco Conservation Corps, and I do both some landscaping and some recycling work there. Thank you to all of my colleagues for their introductions. Now, I'd like to introduce our special guest, Rachel Wagoner, the Director of CalRecycle.
Thank you so much, Levi. I can't tell you all how excited I am to be here today. This is an incredible opportunity for me and for our team here at CalRecycle to interact with all of you. And it is just such a great honor and privilege to be with you guys today and to have this conversation with you. Your generation is the generation that is going to change the world. I am just absolutely inspired by the way you all look at the world and your place in it, and am excited to have the opportunity to talk to you, but more excited to be in a place where I get to hear from you about your ideas. I really see my job as the director of CalRecycle and my time here at CalRecycle is laying a foundation for all of you to change the world and fix the planet that we live on. So I am here to hear from you today about what I can do so that you can be the forces of change that our planet needs right now. And so very, very excited. I've spent the last 25 years in public service. And so really admire all of you to join the team of public service across the state of California and join all of us and really looking to make California the best state that it can be and the most beautiful state that we can leave to our children. So with that, I will pass it over to Maria West.
Thank you. I'm Maria West. I'm CalRecycle's Communication Director. My background is in writing and advertising. I have a great passion for the environment, and Rachel and I speak frequently about saving the planet. It's not easy to save the planet, and we need everybody on board. So we're excited to talk to all of you. We are excited to activate and recruit as many people as possible to the mission of saving the planet, increasing recycling, but also just a general environmental sustainability, renewable. So we have a lot of ideas for you, and we're excited to hear your ideas today. With that, I will hand off to Jeff from the CalRecycle team.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Taylor Sr. I'm the Senior Environmental Scientist Supervisor for CalRecycle's Local Assistance and Market Development Branch, South Section, down in Cerritos. And my background, I spent 17 years in the California Conservation Corps as a crew supervisor, C2, consoup, all the way up to the top. It was a great experience. Levi, this is an awesome platform. I've never seen this for corps members. I don't want to steal your idea, but I got it. My wife still works for the Conservation Corps, so I might have to tell her. No, but it's a great platform. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. I'm
Jamie,
sorry,
do you want
I'll
to
pass
introduce
it to
yourself?
Gracia. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Hi, yes, I can go ahead next. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Grecia Diaz, and I am currently an executive fellow at CalRecycle. So I'm part of a public service fellowship that's approximately 10 months. And I'm working on a diverse set of projects right now, and it's just been an overall great experience. Everyone at CalRecycle is very kind and open to ideas. So I'm happy and excited to hear what y'all have to say today. And I'll pass it over to Jamie.
Thank you, Gracia. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Quinn. I am an environmental scientist here at CalRecycle. My main job duties are focused on environmental justice and work with communities of color throughout California to ensure that they have safe water and clean air to breathe, and making sure that the facilities that we regulate don't harm them more. Yeah. And I'm so happy to be here with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those awesome introductions and also for your time and being here. I really appreciate that. I'm sure we all do. Finally, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Angela Zussman. Angela is the director of Story for All, a nonprofit that amplifies the voices of young people to support healing and to inform policy change. Take it away, Angela.
Thank you so much, Levi. Thank you, everybody. Yay, we're so happy to be in conversation with you all, and welcome again to our live audience. For those folks who are tuning into the live stream, we'd love to hear from you. So please do enter your comments in the comment box, either on Facebook or YouTube, and you can be part of the conversation. We'd love to hear your ideas and your questions, anything that you want to contribute. So we're going to begin the conversation with a little bit of storytelling and find out how each of you kind of got to where you are today. We'll start with our core members. You guys can tell us a little bit about what inspired you to join your local core and the service that you're offering there. And let's start with Amanda.
Great, thank you, Angela. As a little bit backstory, I am an artist. I have my bachelor's degree in fine arts painting. I graduated from Otis College of Art and Design back in 2018. So I had been working for a few years. I didn't join the Corps until after quarantine hit. I was previously working at an after-school Chinese program with kids, and I lost that job because of COVID. And after that, I took a couple months off, and I realized that I wanted to try out essential work. Recycling is a cause that I care about, and both as like a person, an artist, I work with materials, and also as a Christian, I believe that God created the world, and I want to be a good steward of it. So I wanted to try out recycling as a career. As of now, I work primarily with electronic waste, and oh yeah, I've been working here like a year now, and I was eventually promoted to a crew leader a few months back. I'd like to pass it on to Levi.
Thanks, Amanda. Also, congrats on the promotion. I joined the Conservation Corps because I took this environmental science class. I was studying psychology because I want to help people with trauma, but this class changed my life, and I realized how like complex and beautiful our world is, and I wanted to be a steward of natural resources, and so I found the Conservation Corps, thankfully, and I knew I didn't have like the skills to find a like job right away in this field, but there's a lot of opportunity here, and it's really been helpful to me. I've learned a lot. We're doing some pretty cool stuff. I do landscaping stuff and also recycling stuff. And just a little quick plug, we've got this cool pilot program going on with CalRecycle. It's the bottle bank program, and just like trying to get to the point where we're recycling all the beverage containers by making it easier for people. So I'm excited about that. But I'm gonna pass it over to Angelise.
I joined my local Corps because my friend had actually started working here, and she had told me that they give you like a lot of opportunities and they help you a lot. So that's why I joined, and I have a really big interest in recycling because I believe in global warming, and I know that recycling can really help, stop the effects of global warming and just help our environment and like overall. My core, we mainly just do. We pick up like recyclables from like Disney, or we go to businesses and we pick up like their recyclables, and we also started picking up e-waste from like businesses, and we even like go to like police stations as well and pick up their e-waste. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we do. Well, that's what we do in our recycle department. But I just feel like, just recycling in general can just really help our environment, and I'm just really interested in helping, better our world because, I live here, and that's it.
That's it. You live here, right? You care about it. Absolutely. It's so nice to hear a little bit about how you guys got to your local core. And now that you've been offering service in your communities, I'd love to hear a little bit about what you've seen. How has working in your community, doing this service around conservation and recycling, how has that impacted your views on the environment and conservation? We can start with Levi.
Thanks, Angela. For me, I've realized just how much we have this culture of just throwing away. Some days we'll go around and pick up trash off the streets, and there's so much that we throw away, and there's so much that we take for granted. And the planet keeps us alive, and if we're not going to steward that, it won't be able to after a while. And I feel like it's the same thing. We kind of throw away people in the larger system. And I just saw this like connection that went off for me, and like how repairing the relationship between people and the earth can be one way of like breaking down this cycle. It's kind of an epiphany for me. Uh, how about you, Amanda?
Hi, what I realized was that there's a lot of material out there that can be recycled. That So, like our program, for example, we have several partnerships. We're partnered with Goodwill, and we have a mattress program with them. So residents can drop their mattresses off, and we send those out to be recycled. We process them, we recycle them. We also have a partnership with the city of Sunnyvale, in which we collect glass bottles, cans, like glass, plastic, metal. We collect tires. We are partnered with Tri Valley doing e-waste. We have a food rescue program in which we receive donations from Target and Sprouts. And we are also composting what's left of that if people don't take those. So several different projects we have that. So yeah, basically there's a lot that can be recycled. And what I've realized is that a lot isn't being recycled, like due to the fact that people are uneducated and also just lack of access. Angelise, let's go.
Thank you. I realized that I feel like people should be more educated on recycling because as growing up, I wasn't really educated on like what you can recycle and what you can't recycle and the things that you can repurpose. So there's like not a lot of waste. And I just feel like, in schools, they should just teach more about recycling because, it all starts in communities and families. And you can just teach, and you can even teach even more people along your life. And that will, people here on the earth is like what we contribute to, um, you know, waste and stuff. So I feel like we should all just educate each other, and off of that, we can improve our environment and the earth. And since we do that, we can just live longer and better and keep, our earth happy. That's it.
You have a beautiful way, Angelise, of making it so simple. And yet we know that it's complicated. I mean, I really appreciate hearing from you all that there's these discrete issues, but there are also these underlying systemic problems that you're touching upon, how we relate to each other as humans, that this throwaway culture is more than just with stuff, it's with each other. And the power of education and even looking at how things are made. I know we'll talk more about this, but I'd also like to open the floor up to our colleagues at CalRecycle to ask you the same question. How did you get to where you are in CalRecycle, and how has your work there impacted your own views on conservation and the environment? I'll open it up to anyone on the CalRecycle team who'd like to begin.
I'm happy to kick it off, but I think it's more interesting to hear from Jamie and Gracia as they are more recent to their entrance into public service. But I listened to you, Levi, and Angelise, and Amanda, and I can hear my voice from many years ago of when I started in government. I had an internship in college and for a state senator, and had the opportunity to work with community organizations that were trying to make our planet a better place, and was truly inspired by the work that they did and really wanted to dedicate my career to public service. And it's very funny. I've told Maria this many times and have done this in some speaking events, but what I hear from your generation is what I connect to my grandparents' generation, is this intentionality in the way that we live and the way that we connect with each other. You are revisiting a really important part of our culture and a part of our humanity that I think has been lost for a couple of generations. And again, I am so excited to be here with you because I am truly inspired by your generation and the way that you see your place in the world and what your role is in the world. And again, you have all made a choice to join the forces of community and public service, which is a true calling in life. And I appreciate that about all of your stories. And that's how I got started, is I wanted to dedicate my life to making the planet a better place, and not just for myself and my own children, but for all of us as a community. And it really does truly make me feel, every day when I come to work, I feel more connected to each and every Californian. And I am inspired by all of you. I am inspired by the people that I work with here at CalRecycle. You've heard from Jeffrey and Jamie and Gracia and Maria. I work with some of the most inspiring people, and I work for one of the most inspiring electeds I've ever worked for, in Governor Newsom. I'm inspired by him every day. So public service is a great calling, and those of us who come to it do it with intentionality to make the world a better place. And I am just so incredibly proud of my service and really incredibly inspired by yours. Jamie, Gracia, do you want to jump in? I want to hear from our most recent public servant warriors.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to jump in. So my short journey into public service is like not very linear. As I had previously mentioned with the talk to the court members about this, is that I grew up in between Compton and South Central. My grandma collected, her cans and bottles to get the CRV. I also, when I was working at the Boys and Girls Club, we didn't do recycling. And it was because I was interested in this that the Boys and Girls Club in Watts decided to request recycling bottles. Like, they were like the big Coke, Pepsi bottles, and we all started recycling. And it's just crazy to me that at that time we didn't really focus on recycling, because when I went to school in Berkeley, they have their composting, their recycling, everything, landfill. And that was just a whole new world to me that I hadn't experienced growing up, because that wasn't really something that I was taught. And to me, university was what exposed me to the importance of recycling and caring for our earth. This is something, as like Angeline's mentioned, I wish I would have known earlier. But now that I do know, I know that I understand its importance of helping other youth understand the importance of it and also teaching it at a young age. But for me, I didn't imagine pursuing a career in public service. I am a first generation college student. It was hard to get to college. I didn't know what college was. I didn't know how to get there. Very challenging. I did decide to study public health because I was interested in the environmental health impacts on low income communities like mine, where I grew up. It didn't seem normal to me that it was always communities of colors living near freeways. I lived right behind a freeway and by a train track. As in previous calls, there's always a train behind me. So I really wanted to learn how I could do my part to make sure that other communities don't continue to experience what my community went through. And public service just seemed the way. And I ended up finding out about a public service fellowship that would allow me to work at CalRecycle. And CalRecycle's environmental justice program just called my name. I didn't know much about what environmental justice was, but I'm so happy that I chose CalRecycle because I've learned so much about it and understand the importance of environmental justice. But that is my very nonlinear path into public service at CalRecycle.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Gracia. I don't think any of us truly have a very linear path to get to where we are. I'm going to actually bring you all back to third grade with me. This is, imagine tiny Jamie. I remember walking into the cafeteria and there was supposed to be some presentation that day, and it was 3 people that were presenting on recycling and the importance of recycling, managing your waste, and it struck a chord with me. And that was when I was like, oh, actually, like, this is what I care about. And I remember telling my family all about it, going home, super excited. I started putting like different boxes all around the house so people could start learning how to separate it. And that was kind of the start of my journey into going to college and learning about climate science, because science is the skill that I am strongest in, and all of us have, different skill sets, whether it be education, writing, policy, and I think all of that is so necessary for saving the planet. And it takes all of us to do that work. So I found my niche in science, and that brought me into being a Sea Grant Fellow, working in ocean sciences for the state of California. And through that, I actually met our environmental justice program manager here at CalRecycle, Maria Salinas, and she introduced me to the folks here, and I fell in love with the staff at CalRecycle. Everyone is just so passionate and so brilliant. So I applied for a job, and here I am.
I would also love it if Jeff could speak to this, because he came up through the California State Conservation Corps and he has quite an exciting path.
Yeah, it's not exciting. It's like kind of by luck. My background is electrical engineering. My dad worked at Rockwell, so I wanted to pursue an aerospace, type of career. I worked at TRW. It didn't work out, but my sports background allowed me to get a scholarship to play basketball. So that's how I finished school at Loyola Marymount. And I went overseas to play basketball, and I had my son. So I came back, and I'm playing at a gym, and I'm playing basketball with a guy that's the director of one of the locations, the California Conservation Corps locations. So we're shooting the breeze, and next thing you know, he's talking to me about a state job, and next thing you know, he helps me all the way through to taking the state exam and becoming a C1. I think that was April 1992. And the thing with conservation and the projects we did, our main focus at that time was emergency response. But on regular everyday projects, we did what you call a conservation awareness project. And I'll call myself teaching these young adults about conservation, but basically I was teaching myself. I taught myself about water conservation, about salmon restoration, about fuel reduction, which everyone doesn't look at that as a big deal, but everyone who owns a home up in the mountains need to know they need to clear at least 120 yards of brush around their home. And I think a lot of people are starting to really, really understand that now. Now, as far as recycling, we work with local corps, LA Conservation Corps, Angelisa, OCC, we work with them. We work with a lot of local corps, but I think they were teaching us about recycling, and I really didn't know. And just my background, just working with, I was to work with over 3,000 young adults in my CCC career. And, they gave me a nickname. My name's not Jeffrey, it's JT. So they don't call me Jeffrey, they call me JT. And it was just an eye-opening experience working with the young adults. And to listen to you three right here, oh my God. Like Rachel said, you guys are just amazing. Our generation's looking great. It's really looking good. And like I was just reading a comment, Echo Warriors. Oh my God. This is a great platform. I'm just going to tell you, Levi, it really is. I do want to speak on like your core members themselves. As far as communication like this, how often is this meeting? Is this gathering, I should say, is this show conservation, corpse conservation conversations? I mean.
I can speak to that. So this is our fourth in a series of live streams of core conversations this year. We're hoping to do at least one more this year, and then ideally, expand next year, because like Rachel has said, this is how I feel in my bones. I want to hear what you young people have to say too. I have a lot of curiosity and respect for your vantage point. And I think it's critically important that we create platforms like this for young people's voices to be heard in an authentic way, and to give you that experience of speaking up and being heard. And we're listening. I mean, we're actively looking for your ideas, and you're inspiring to us. So not wanting to put too much pressure on you, but like we really look to you for inspiration and ideas and motivation. And this is a platform to hopefully provide you with some skills, some opportunities, and allow these conversations to be had in collaboration with local corps, critical partners like CalRecycle, and the folks in the audience who also care about these issues.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
thank you for that question. And I know we have so much to talk about, so I am going to move on to the next question. We keep wanting to hear ideas from core members, so I'd like to open the floor to our core members now to talk about some ideas. You guys are very active in your communities and you see what's needed. So I'd love to hear from each of you. Is there a project, if you had, all the money in the world or whatever, what kind of project would you want to do in your own community? Something that you see your community needs and that you're interested in. So let's hear first from Angelise.
Thank you, Angela. I would like to address fast fashion. Not a lot of people know about fast fashion and the effects it does to our environment and the harmful things it does to our earth. First of all, I would really like to educate people on what fast fashion does. And, it's just really harmful. It creates a lot of heavy water consumption. We are very low on water, and corporations really, you need a lot of water to create clothing. And since trends always come in and out, they're creating a lot of clothes, meaning that they're using a lot more water, and that's just really harmful, as well as toxic dyes. There's a lot of chemicals that toxic dyes have, and it just goes all into the air, and it's really harmful for the people working there, first of all, and it just really can harm us, and as well as our earth. Also, they also do a lot of child labor, sadly, and that's just a very sad thing. And children should be children; they shouldn't be working, and that's just very taking advantage of our our own people, as well as they pay very low, like poor wages. And since they usually do this in like a lot of third world countries, and it's not very there's not a lot of safety in their corporations, and as well as they're doing very like difficult and hard work, and they're getting paid very little, or even sometimes they don't even get paid at all for the day. So I just feel like a lot of people should know about fast fashion and just try not to buy a lot off of it, or try not to buy at all. But that's my idea of fast fashion.
And Angelise, how could you see your local core actually taking action around fast fashion?
I feel like my local core can try to help less consumption of fast fashion is a way of, if people don't use their clothes anymore, or they don't need clothes, like they don't need any more of their clothes. I feel like as well, like how we go and pick up e-waste, we can go pick up their clothing and bring it to their like our local thrift store or our local Salvation or Goodwill. So it can help, like in like how like in my community, like very like low income communities, it can help provide them with like clothing at a cheaper price, and as well as like just help everyone out in our communities. And just try not to buy a lot off of like online sites that like produce fast fashion.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, let's hand it over to Amanda. What kind of projects would you like to see happen in your community?
I actually have a little story to tell. I was out with a couple of my friends one weekend, and we were getting boba at a plaza, and one of my friends had a water bottle with her, a plastic water bottle, and she was looking around for a recycle bin to put it in. So I looked around with her, and there were no recycle bins at the plaza whatsoever. And that's when I began noticing that in general, plazas and also downtown areas don't have recycle bins. So my project idea is to put recycle bins in places like plazas and downtown areas, and that way the general public will have more access to recycling and more exposure to recycling. Another thing would be food waste. That's also material that causes the environment a lot of harm. We do collect donations from Target and Sprouts, and we put it in our community market where core members and staff members can take from it. And that's like a way to get rid of food before it gets thrown out. And then after that, we throw it out by separating it into food waste bins and also compost. And we have a compost area. The food scraps go to mission trails where they will process it into dog food. So if we're feeding humans, we're feeding dogs, and then composting, we're feeding microorganisms. So we have that kind of starting up at our facilities. And we're actually looking to expand that into where the public can come in and maybe drop off their compostable items, such as food waste and other compostable items. And we would be able to process that for them, and they would also be able to receive compost for free. So that's my kind of second project idea. On to Levi.
Thanks, Amanda. That is really awesome that you're, kind of going down the chain of like feeding people, feeding the dogs, feeding the microorganisms. Speaking of composting, a project idea that I had was to do a little background information first. We're losing our topsoil like 10 times faster than it regenerates. I love food. I love eating. I love being alive. I think we all do. And so this is an issue that I'm really passionate about, because if we run out of topsoil, we can't have food, right? And topsoil naturally takes a long time to, regenerate, but humans can speed up that process. What I would really like to see is some sort of composting program at my core. I know we already have a partnership with local rodeo that comes into town, I think once a year, maybe more often than that. I'm not sure, but we do their recycling. And they even asked us, like, what can we do with the manure? Manure is great for dirt. That's all the nutrients that we would normally, spray fertilizer onto that dirt. If we could take that and add it to a compost pile, we'd make really awesome dirt. What would we do with that dirt? We could have a community garden. We could feed our core members, people who need it in our communities. And, if we made enough soil, we could even get into contact with like farming operations, little local farms. I really like eating. That's really all.
I think we're all with you there. So thank you so much. I know these are just some of your ideas, and I want to give our colleagues at CalRecycle a moment to respond to some of these ideas. And perhaps this is, I know that, for example, at CalRecycle, that you've got some goals around food rescue and, decreasing organic waste disposal and so forth. I'm not sure what you're doing around fast fashion and composting, but we'd just love to hear your input about some of these ideas.
Well, I think these are all fantastic ideas, absolutely fantastic ideas, and exactly why we want to encourage a continued conversation with the local cores and the state core about how can we really truly partner. Levi, I love to eat too. Like, we all need to do our part. I think your idea around some sort of partnership around composting with the local cores is something I want our team here to pursue. How can we work with you? This is such an important component of and priority for CalRecycle right now. We are implementing legislation to cut our organic waste at the local level, where you all are working, by 75% by 2025. That is a huge amount. We're talking billions and billions of pounds of waste that we need to divert from landfills. And it is fast fashion. It is all of that clothing that shouldn't be going into landfills anymore. It is the food waste that Amanda is doing food recovery and composting on, and it's Levi's landscaping, because we require local governments to procure 20% of the byproducts of that organic waste. So if we can get our composting programs at the local level off and running, then when Levi goes to do his landscaping, he's not buying compost and fertilizer from some out-of-state manufacturer that's using all of these chemicals. He's buying compost that was created in his community. Well, maybe not San Francisco. Nearby. We're probably not composting in downtown San Francisco. A little bit too expensive for the real estate. But it is exactly that we need these partnerships where we are thinking about pulling together all of these ideas. And if we can pull all of these things together, then we will meet that 75% diversion goal and beyond. Like, let's get to 0% diversion. Let's get to the point where we are not using landfills anymore at all. And so it is all of these ideas pieced together, working together to get that done. I don't want to be the only one speaking. So anybody else from CalRecycle have something to add to that?
I just wanted to add in all the discussion about organic waste that I wanted to presence the fact that organic waste is in rotting in landfills is one of the top contributors to climate change. It is one of the very top contributors of climate superpollutants. Methane that is emitted from landfills, it heats the earth at 84 times the power of carbon. But at the same time, it breaks down in the atmosphere faster, so that if we can impact the levels that we're putting into the atmosphere over the next 20 years, we will see that impact more significantly, more quickly. So it's a really important aspect of, it's not just about reducing landfill waste, which is an important idea, but it's also about the really scary impacts that we're experiencing right now in California. And our air quality today in Sacramento is quite poor because of local fires, and there's so much trepidation every fire season. So this work is really essential.
That is such an important point that Maria is making. So every time Amanda's group does any aspect of the program that she's running, where she is keeping food or other organics from going into landfills and breaking down into methanes, it's the equivalent of taking thousands and thousands of cars off the road every year. You are climate warriors. You guys are fighting climate change, and every time you are recycling those plastic bottles, you are preventing more oil from needing to be extracted to make new plastic bottles. Every time Levi plants a tree, he is pulling carbon out of the atmosphere. Everything that you guys are doing is fighting climate change and reversing the damage that's already been done. You guys are the front line and the first responders to our climate crisis. So I want more of these ideas. I want more.
Okay, good, because we got more. Let's talk a little bit.
Oh, Amanda's got more. Amanda's got more.
Okay. Actually, I know Rachel mentioned like, oh, Levi can get like compost from other facility instead of like buying chemical compost. Like, hey, they should get it from us. We're making compost here, and like, bring us your food waste while you're at it. We can process it for you. Like, we could all work together and create something.
Exactly. This is exactly where my brain is going. How can you guys be the connectors between all of these communities? And if we can make programs that connect all of our communities, we'll be 10 times more successful.
Great.
That would be super cool to like, because I mean, I've been down to the San Jose Conservation Corps a few times, helping out with y'all's food bank. So like, we got a little bit of partnership, but like having more of that would be really cool.
And I think this is a good time to bring in an excellent question that we got from one of our audience members. We're just bringing it up on the screen now. How can the chorus be more intentional in integrating racial and ethnic disparities into our CalRecycle funded work? It's an amazing question. Thank you so much, Viridiana. I hope I'm saying your name right. And I want to expand this question not just into our CalRecycle funded work, but as we move into really looking at green careers. How can we make sure that we are bringing diverse young people into these careers and creating access not only to the services that we want to create in these projects in our communities, but also the careers that are going to really shepherd us into that, zero waste kind of community. So I leave this question open to anyone who wants to address it first.
Well, so Jamie's been working on our environmental justice work here. Gracia has been doing some work where we've been doing some internal evaluation of racial disparities and racial equity, and how do we integrate higher levels of racial equity. And Jeffrey is working in our program. So I really want the three of them to touch on this. And then Maria's been mining a bunch of information about career opportunities. So I'd like to kind of turn it over, maybe start with Gracia on what she has found, and then Jamie and Jeffrey, and then Maria to kind of give you a full picture of what we're doing here at CalRecycle.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, especially because as like CalRecycle, we serve a diverse population here in California, and it's really critical that our workforce and our decisions are made by people that look like the communities that we serve. So really right now what we're doing is we're trying to figure out how we can improve our programmatic internal and external actions to make sure that these programs are reflective and are actually based on community needs and concerns, because at the end of the day, these actions are impacting communities that may or may not have a seat at the table. So we want to ensure that that is what's happening here at CalRecycle. I'm not sure if Jamie has anything else to add about our environmental justice aspect of it.
Yeah, thank you for giving kind of that intro. It is so important that, like what Gracia said, our government should look like the people that we serve, not only diverse in race, but also diverse in mindset, diverse in our skills, and everyone does things differently, and we need to incorporate all of those mindsets, all of those skills together well in the government. Having kind of the same mindset throughout, you never get anything creative, you don't get things done. Like how, Amanda, you have an art degree, you can integrate art into all of these sciences and climate change work. And I think that's so amazing. And I think, Vessia, you touched on a very important point, is that we all work for the people of California. We are all public servants. And we go to them. That is our priority. We listen to them, not only just hear them, but truly listen, understand what each community needs, because California has so many different types of communities. They all look so different with different environmental factors that we have to take those into account. I live in a bubble in Sacramento. I don't know what's going on in Imperial at all times or in Stockton. So community members are the experts of their community, of what they need. And I think that is a challenge that we have, is just California is vast. So we do need to work a lot harder to assure that the systems that were in place before that overburdened a lot of communities of color are better served from here on out, and we don't make those same mistakes again.
And as for programs, um, I'm lucky. I get to work in 2 counties, Orange County and LA County, and I think I get to see communities that are affluent and communities that really need help. And just briefly working with Gracia and the racial equity team, we see that there's a need to address those disadvantaged communities as far as being able to apply for grants and just being able to get the knowledge of like recycling, of why the landfill is not a viable place to take your food waste. Basically, I think CalRecycle needs to get out, and I'm lucky I work in local assistance. I get out, I get to talk, I give my hand, until COVID, my feet were on the ground, talking to council members, talking to city managers, and my staff. They're great. I mean, they're just so awesome. They're so knowledgeable as far as answering questions, solving problems, solving you get the disgruntled cities that don't like our laws. They don't like the upcoming law that's coming up, but they just want to express themselves. And being a referee, I'm also referee sports. I let them vent to me, and they vent, and then we're best friends after that. It's funny how you can let them vent, and everything will work out. Um, Also, too, I'm just so amazed. I'm sorry, I'm just so amazed that Levi, Angelise, and Amanda, you guys. I mean, I work with core members. I guess we call them at-risk youth, but in the state core. But I don't know, you guys are awesome. I gotta continue to say that. I wish you could see my face because I'm smiling from ear to ear, and it's just awesome to see your desire, your just motivation. And I've been reading the comments, and I just want to keep being involved. I mean, it's a great thing, and then I can give you more information about what I do, the programs that I deal with, and I think we can help each other, like Rachel said. I think this is something that needs to continue.
Agreed. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. And we feel your passion, even if we can't see your face. And I want to go back a little bit to some of the brainstorming that we were starting. We have a great question here from one of our viewers. We'll bring it up on the screen. And it kind of leads into that brainstorming session we wanted to have about zero waste. We've heard some project ideas, but we all see that, these projects aren't going to be enough, right? We're really talking about a major cultural shift, economic, in every single way. So I know our core members have some ideas related to this question we see here from the California Product Stewardship Council. So I'd like to now kind of open up the floor to a little bit of brainstorming around, so how do we get there? What are some of the next steps or some of the ideas that you core members have about how we can move towards zero waste? And I know Amanda specifically has some ideas that address this very question that we see up on the screen. So I'm going to kick it off to Amanda now.
I think I would just go back to the 3 Rs: reduce, reuse, recycle. In order to, I guess, cut how much we're buying in terms of new products, like you mentioned, reusing, like reducing our purchases. We do have a master's program that recycles it, but I think it would be interesting if we had a program that would also reuse the furniture as well. My core doesn't really do much with furniture, so I wouldn't know about that part. But with mattresses, we do have a recycling program for that.
And Amanda, tell us a little bit about your ideas around e-waste, because I know that's the area that you work in, and you've got some ideas about how that could be expanded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we collect electronic waste from lots of different sources, both from businesses and residential areas. We also hold amnesty events in which residents will drive over and drop off their electronic waste. And what I found is that a lot of the product we get is like e-waste that still is like perfectly fully functioning and maybe even new, still in their box. So along with the first R, the reduce, the first thing society could do would be to reduce what they're purchasing, like when they still have good products that they could use. Like everyone wants a new iPhone, but what if you kept your phone until you couldn't use it anymore? So that would be the first R, reduce. Reuse, in terms of the core, we get a lot of products I mentioned that are still in their box, still in use. We're starting up a little program where we're reselling the e-waste that can be resold, like still good quality or lightly used e-waste, and that would go along with the second R, reuse. And then recycle, we've been sending thanks, Fiza. We've been sending our e-waste to Tri-Valley, which we have a partnership with. So they're the ones who mainly do the tear down and recycle. But what we're thinking of doing is like we've actually started like calling businesses on our own, creating routes. And actually that's something Fiza does. She makes the calls to businesses, and we'll make routes, like instead of receiving routes from Tri-Valley, and we'll collect that e-waste, and we're planning on starting their own teardown station. And that way, our core could learn more about what in electronic waste can be recycled, and also have like kind of a primary taste of what IT is, and like gain those skills. So yeah, so not only are we learning about doing the actual work of recycling, but also providing skills for our core members for their futures. And actually that takes me to a question I have. What should green careers offer to make them more attractive? And that's for anyone, I guess, maybe CalRecycle. Because like I guess the core is like all minimum wage stuff, but how to make that more attractive? Yeah.
Well, green careers mean a lot of things. So at the state, we have, pretty robust benefits packages in addition to, competitive salaries. So we have it's one of the few places you can actually get a pension. And while that might not mean a lot to you right now, by the time you get to my age, you'll be able to retire. And it goes a lot faster than you think. They're medical, dental. So there's a lot there. There's a very strong unions at the state. So there's a lot going on at the state, but at the local level, there's a lot of county jobs that are available. And then additionally, green jobs are expanding. There are so many different ways that we're building them within California. There are renewable energy jobs such as solar installation. There's recycling centers, recycling coordinators. There's also just a lot of opportunity to even build your own business. We are working on supporting innovators in the recycling and the circular economy field, to those who want to reuse materials or find ways to break things down and create new items. So CalRecycle specifically is investing and working on building the foundation for the circular economy. I also wanted to point out or ask all of you, we keep having the question, how do we reach the younger generation, more diverse populations? We would love your input and an ongoing conversation with you for how we can reach people in your communities and communities like yours throughout the state. There is in some ways, a very specific application process with the state. There's so many different kinds of jobs. You can start as an office technician. You can start as an executive assistant. You can come as an environmental scientist if you have environmental studies or an environmental scientist degree. But there's so many other things you can do. You can work your way up. There's definitely a career path to work your way up to being a manager, even if you started out without a college education. So I have a long list of all the different kinds of jobs, but it's everything from working out in the field, measuring, pesticide in water, measuring water and air for other parts of the California EPA, which is what we are a part of. CalRecycle is part of California's Environmental Protection Agency. And then there's desk jobs, there's phone jobs where you're doing customer service. I have some amazing 800 operators who help people and are passionate about saving the environment and helping Californians recycle more. There's just a number of different things that you can do. And we're having a lot of retirements right now. The baby boomer generation has been retiring and we expect more retirement. So there are lots of opportunities throughout the state and over 200,000 people who work for the state. But also there are county jobs, city jobs. So there's much that's available. And some of those government jobs locally also have good retirement packages, medical packages, benefit packages.
So we knew this was going to happen, that this conversation was going to go so quickly and so fast. We're down to just a couple of minutes left in our live stream and so much more to talk about. So maybe there will be a part 2. We'll keep you posted about that. But I would just like to, give Rachel Wagoner a moment to share some of her vision with us in terms of how you see the future moving towards the circular economy as zero waste, and specifically words to inspire the young generation who is obviously ready to take on the mantle of eco-warrior by your side.
Well, thank you, Angela. I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity for this conversation. Like I said at the beginning, was inspired to be here and was even more inspired by the conversation we had with the core members and from the CalRecycle staff who inspire me every day. So really want to encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing and bring us your ideas and keep working hard. I think Maria's point on the diversity of types of careers that are available as you move forward, that diversity is only going to grow as we see greater need in the recycling world, in the reuse world, and all of your brilliant ideas. You guys can be on the front line of creating those opportunities, not only in government, but in the private sector. And as Maria said, we're making new investments right now in companies that are innovating in recycling and reuse. And so there are going to be opportunities across the board from everything from new recycling companies to, as Maria said, renewable energy companies that are out there and going to be building not only solar panels, but new wind turbines. There are going to be so many opportunities, and we want to help you guys find those as you are building this skill set. So we are looking to you, Angela, and to all of you in the core for what are the skill set that you would like to develop and how can we be helpful at CalRecycle and helping you connect to those opportunities. And let's just keep talking.
I'm taking notes as you're saying that. Right? Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm super inspired by this conversation. I appreciate everyone's time. And I want to hand it back over to our host, Levi.
To echo what you said, Angela, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much for your time, Rachel, and everyone else at the CalRecycle team. Really appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, very inspiring leadership from CalRecycle. Down in the chat box. Yes. Just a real quick word about how this has really been super inspiring to me. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say that. I just feel like a little bit lighter, knowing that there's so many people who care and so many opportunities to get involved. Transitioning from that, plug, if you all liked what you heard today and want to get involved, well, I just got some weird feedback. Sorry. We got the final live stream coming up of the Core Conversation series. Stay tuned for more details on that. If you like what you heard today and want to get involved, California's local cores are hiring. So check out if there's one in your area, get involved. Check out mylocalcores.org to find your local core and contact us. Thank you so much for the team here today, to my fellow core members and staff who support us, and to Rachel Wagner and Maria West and the full team at CalRecycle. Thank you for all you do to support California's movement towards circular economy and your continued leadership in the green space. Thank you again. We also want to thank the California Association of Local Conservation Corps and Story for All for making these interviews possible. And thank you, Californians, for their generous funding, support of Core Conversations and Youth Voices. Stay safe, and we'll see you at the next Core Conversation.
Thank you so much.
Excellent job, you guys. Really well done. Thank you for having us.